Hi, everyone, and welcome to today's webinar, Strategic Planning for 2021. My name is Ryan Weeks, and I'll be managing today's webinar. Before we get started, I just had a few housekeeping items. First, I wanted to thank everyone for submitting a question to Duncan. He will address some of those questions on today's webinar. Second, this webinar will be recorded and made available along with all of our implementation resources in the Pareto Academy. If you are not already registered for Pareto Academy, a link will be sent to you via email, or you can visit our website, paretosystems.com, and click our webinars in the menu. Lastly, I have 2 poll questions for our audience today, so we appreciate your participation in this. I will launch the first question right now on your screen, and you will have 15 seconds to answer. The first question is, have you had a 2020 strategic planning meeting with your team? And the answers are either yes, no, or it's on the calendar. So the results are in. 11% of you responded yes, that you've had the meeting with your team, 53% no, and 36% said it's on the calendar. Now our second question is, do you have a written strategic plan for 2021? The answers are either yes, no, or almost completed. And again, with this, very similar results. We had 11% said yes, that they have a written strategic plan for 2021. 65% said no, and 23% that they've almost got it completed. So I think this is perfect timing for this webinar today. And so I'd like to thank everyone for their participation in those poll questions. And now I would like to introduce our presenter, Duncan MacPherson. He is the CEO of Pareto Systems, high demand speaker and best-selling author. Duncan, I'll turn it over to you.
Okay, Ryan, great job. Thank you very much. And yeah, you're right. The timing is impeccable. And it's interesting. I had to smile on the first poll question because when it comes to engaging your team in strategic planning, I made a decision a long time ago not to lead that in my own enterprise, but to actually empower people on my team, and I just contribute to it. And it becomes the tether. It's the lifeblood of our business for many reasons. And I'm really looking forward to this. I have to say, this is my favorite theme. I spend the most amount of time preparing for this because it's so meaningful. I get to benefit from the process myself because it forces me to really think things through. And I'm really looking forward to sharing this with you. I know you take this seriously, and that means a lot to me. And I'm reminded, it's very interesting. It's a contradiction. It's a paradox, the mentor-protege coaching dynamic. If you think about athletics, the best in any field of endeavor have a coach of some kind or many coaches. I remember seeing Justin Rose, a professional golfer, speak just before me at a conference at Pebble Beach. And he was talking about some of his coaches. And it occurred to me that his swing coach, the guy that Justin Rose listens to for guidance, that swing coach could never beat Justin Rose in a round of golf. And yet, someone at that level values the input of a coach. The other thing, incidentally, Justin Rose said that really stuck out, he said, I am constantly striving to improve and optimize. But I don't try to find one thing that I improve on by 10%. I try to find 10 things that I can improve on by 1%. And that's pretty powerful. And I'm hoping that you can draw from this just the exercise, deliberately experiencing this conversation to sort of get out of your echo chamber and shake off some of the confirmation bias and familiarity and just expand your thinking as we bridge from 2020 into 2021. It's a tremendous investment of effort. I'm going to modify my format a little bit because, as Ryan said, we got many phenomenal questions submitted leading up to today. And in fact, so many good questions. I think what I'd like to do going forward is a monthly sort of virtual roundtable where you can sort of go through a peer sharing exercise with me answering questions from the field. But I have drawn from this, and I'll embed some of that commentary into my presentation here today. One question I got from Larry. Larry, I know, a very profoundly effective financial professional. He said, every business plan I have created ends up being stale by April. Can you get me on the correct path? It's a really good point and question. Now, again, I just want you to immerse yourself in the exercise. Force yourself to get things out of your head. I mean, let's remember, you're a planner and you work with your clients planning to help them demystify the future. And I just want you to consider how profoundly important this is now, because ultimately, with everything that we've just gone through and we're still going through, and hopefully, there's some light at the end of that tunnel, it comes down to you. You have a choice to make. Either you elevate, make some adjustments, create a blueprint, or you stagnate. And I mean, maybe life is good. Maybe you're okay with where you're at. I don't want to call it a plateau, but you live by the rules you set here. But here's what I know about stagnation. If you think about the dynamics of entropy, nothing improves by neglect. So just break the status quo. Now, everything I'm going to talk about is drawn from our many interactions with some of the best people in your field. This isn't theory. I'm very, very fortunate. I'm a master aggregator, but our clients, they share with us. And I create this composite. I'm going to ask you, because we're going to provide you with so many resources, so you don't need to reinvent the wheel. If you have a sheet of paper, create a to-do list of things that you're going to act on as a result of this conversation. Number one, I want you to get a binder. I want you to print out all the resources we're going to give you and put them into the binder. Tangible. I know you live at your screen. I know you live on your phone and it's very virtual, very digital. Consider the analog, consider the tactile. There's something powerful about holding this in your hands. And back to the comment about being stale by April, it's fluid and dynamic. But this is your keystone. This is the centerpiece for your team meetings. And when you're alone with your thoughts, just getting clear on mid-course corrections and trajectory. So that's number one. We're going to throw the kitchen sink at you here. Okay? Now, some of you know I'm working on a new book. It's called The Blue Square Method. I would like you to print out this Venn diagram. Now, this is drawn from what is called an ikigai. It's a Japanese term that essentially means our reason for being. Many of our clients that I've interacted with throughout 2020 have really not only looked for the silver linings, but also reimagining what matters. And that whole concept of what self-actualization looks like, the best version of us. Now, offline, you can watch some videos on Ikigai. Basically, there's 4 questions that propel Ikigai in the classic sense. What do you love to do? What are you good at? What does the world need? And how can you be compensated? And they're all interconnected. Now, I've taken that and made it specific to you, but with a balance around qualitative and quantitative. I've seen many times where professional success comes at the expense of personal success. So they're not really questions, they're statements. This is your beacon. This is why you do what you do. This is your reason for being. I'm sure you love what you do. It's not that you have to do it, you get to do it. You're developing process and driving enterprise value. You're converting clients to advocates and you're monetizing fully. But along the way, you take nothing for granted. Your sense of purpose is constantly evolving. You're constantly mindful of balance on every level. And you have immense fulfillment because your business serves your life, not the other way around. I would ask you, just for the concept of gentle reminders and mid-course corrections, bringing you back, make this the cover page of your binder. You know, it's interesting. I got a question from Reagan. How do you plan for 2021 after following a year of unpredictability? Should we consider flexible strategic planning? Yeah. And I mean, I know that's self-evident, but we all have external dependencies. We all have volatility out of our control. We all have to do scenario planning. But I think that Venn diagram, and I think your binder and your commitment to ongoing strategic planning throughout the year, it acts like your noise canceling headphones. I mean, obviously you're mindful of the things swirling around you, but you're not at the mercy of them. You know, it's interesting. Many of our clients, when we're meeting them early in the conversation, as they're vetting us to see if there's a good fit and alignment of interest, they ask about the distinction between coaching and consulting. And, you know, I don't, in the literal sense, think of myself or our roster, our bench of coaches as coaches in that classic sense. Coaching is, you know, it's siloed, one-off pep talks and fireside chats. I mean, there's a time and a place. I consider consulting to be framed in a absolutely incontrovertible philosophy and a proven process. And our process is incremental. It builds on itself. But we need to view it panoramically. So I'd like to start, just basically give you a starting point around the concept of goal setting. Now, there's a dual track here. We have many of our clients that have adopted our approach to goal setting and applied a variation with their own clients to professionalize and standardize goal setting. Because I know you're probably a goals-based planner. But it's not just an intention because you're a good person. It's part of your process. So with form and W5, think about how you can integrate this into your client-facing interactions to help them remember that money is a means to an end, and you care about what they care about. I use this approach myself. I'd ask you, if you're thinking about formally getting your goals out of your head and crystallizing them on paper, follow W5. And again, you can print out these slides and put them in your binder if you want. The first question is, what are you grateful for? If there's anything I've gotten from 2020, it's don't take anything for granted, right? Appreciate what we have and invest the past into the future. Then ask yourself, where do you see yourself in the future? Just get it out of your head. What's your wish list? Pour it all out. There is something powerful about taking it from an idea and intention onto paper. It makes it more real. So just everything. It could be 10 things. It could be 17 things. Like just put them all on paper. Then start to extract and start to categorize based on time. When do you hope to accomplish these goals? How many of them do you hope to accomplish within the next 12 months? The next 3 years? The next 5 years? And then just really go deeper and just ask yourself, why is all this so important to me? Help you count the costs. And then ultimately, based on extreme ownership, just ask yourself, who do I need to become to make all this a reality? You've heard the statement, if it is to be, it is up to me. One of the questions I got from Elizabeth, what makes a strategic plan different from an action plan or goal setting? It's a good question. Goals are the why. Action plans and strategic plans are the how, and they've got to be hand in glove. It's yin yang. You need them both. Otherwise, they're dreams, they're fantasies. And that's fine too. But let's add some predictability, some probability to the outcome. So how will I accomplish my goals? Well, we're going to give you two directions here. Like people who come on to these conversations, it's not like they're starting from scratch. You've already got momentum and you can make a choice. You can just ride that momentum. That's called inertia confidence, right? Or you can harness it. You've heard the expression, right? One horse can pull 1,000 pounds. Two horses can pull 3,000 pounds. There is an accretive multiplier that comes from harnessing. And that's why, if nothing else, this exercise is so important. Now, our STAR planning framework is a framework so you don't wing it. You give it some structure. I do want you to be inclusive with your team. In fact, Ward asked, if you are starting with a new team, what are the best planning tactics to make sure that they are executed? Go right back to Maslow's hierarchy and understand at the core of Maslow is belonging. Be inclusive in the strategic plan, in the goal setting, and in the execution. And then just be prepared to call audibles, to be flexible. You know, I got to tell you something on a personal note. I had some pretty strong goals for the fourth quarter. And then about a month ago, our basement got flooded. Like right now, our basement's empty and being completely overhauled. Now, that's a lightning strike out of nowhere, right? That could derail us. Trying to find the balance, right? Now, what you're looking at here, this is especially good at a high level for you individually to craft a strategic plan and then share it with any and all team members. Self-analysis is just basically your state of the nation, your state of the business, the state of where you are, to get clear on untapped opportunities, overlooked vulnerabilities, and things like that. It's just, again, galvanizing. Targets create your beacon. Activities are all cause and effect related. And then reality check is all about identifying key performance indicators and not falling victim to the law of diminishing intent, which is an incredibly powerful force. Now, part of the resources we're going to provide for you is that STAR planning framework in something that's very actionable. You can translate into results and customize. High level, better than nothing, complementary to what you're currently doing or how you approach strategic planning. Many of our clients, they really bridge 1 year to the next in December and January in terms of the strategic plan, and then it just becomes part of the overall panoramic incremental approach through the year. If you want to go deeper, and I got to tell you, this is deeper. We have a framework called My Strategic Framework. Now, that right there is a good cover page. Again, print that out. So you've got your Venn diagram. You've got a couple of elements regarding W5 and goal setting, and then you connect the why and the how. This right here is what I would consider to be as close to paint by numbers as possible. It's a checklist. It cascades. It's very orderly. And that's part of the resources we're going to provide for you. And of course, if you know anything about us, you know that I love acronyms because, again, it just gives it some structure. What I'm going to do very quickly is check these boxes and walk through this progression. And again, and I'll talk about this later, but the resource that we have for you on this strategic framework document, I would encourage you to print it out for all your team members, have a 15-minute huddle with them, set an expectation, and then send them away for a couple of days to fill it out themselves, and then bring them all back together. And it's open source, right? It's like the owner of a business working the counter, just getting a feel, walking the floor, as Tom Peters used to say. Just getting a feel and being inclusive. Okay, so let's break this down. And again, that template that we'll provide for you, I will tell you, is way better than trying to start with a blank sheet of paper, trying to get creative. And you'll see how this all circles back. All right, so the first step in my strategic framework is your strategic summary. So think of this as your mission statement for the year. Okay, it's your rallying cry. It's this is what we stand for. This is what we hope to accomplish. In the spirit of beginning with the end in mind, just describe what nirvana looks like for you in the next 12 months. Right? You've heard that old expression. You'll see it when you believe it. Just getting that out of your head is you believing it. Even if it's lofty. And I'm telling you, if you've got 5 people on your team, you watch how complementary, but also how distinct those nirvana statements are. And then you create this composite that's just so incredible. But this is like time travel. You're going out. You look at how fast 2020 blew by, and it was weird how weird this year has been. 2021 is going to blow by pretty quickly as well. So just go out there a year from now. What does it look like? Just get it out of your head. That's step one. And I know that sounds kind of cosmic, but I'll tell you something, and you might already know this. Write this down in your calendar. December 21st, 2020 is a planetary conjunction. And if you study that stuff, it's pretty cool. Anyway, let's keep going. That's the S in strategic. The T, okay, look, at the end of the day, everything matters. Everything matters. But some things matter more. And then there's what matters most. The one thing that matters most in your business is your clients. Now, your team, your enterprise has an array of clients. You might have heard me do the 3-circle Venn diagram on this. You've got a group of clients who need you, and then you've got a group of clients who deserve you. And then you've got that movable middle. And as one of our clients would say, it's all about up or out. Either they go up or they go out. That's their mindset. And while I'm thinking about that, the Blue Square Method is a compilation of the mindset and best practices of the best fee-for-service professionals. Our window in the last 5 years of how the best think and conduct themselves. But nothing is more important than your clients, especially your top clients. 80% of your business comes from 20% of your clients. That 20%, you can do an 80-20 on the 20. You probably have 10 clients who represent 30 or 40% of your business. Everyone matters. They matter the most. Why? Well, we're going to competitor proof them. And we're going to reimagine and make sure that they perceive us and describe us properly. We're going to strive to replicate them. And we are going to go up market deliberately in 2021 to consistently attract that person. So if you've not already done this, crystallize who you're suited for. Don't talk in terms of who you're looking for. Nobody cares who you're looking for. Who are you suited for? Who's a good fit? AAA. Where's the alignment based on the assets and need they have today and in the future and your expertise? Alignment, attitudinal qualities, advocacy. You know, one of my questions that I got was from Jim. He said, my partnership just ended and I'm hoping to retire in 5 years. That's a reasonable window of time. On what should I be focusing? Right here. Take a look at your 10. Remove the mystery for yourself. Who are we suited for? Make a decision right now that we're only going to strive to attract these people or people who have an ability to become this client. And then be an open kitchen, which means you show this off. You activate by belonging, by telling your clients you've made a decision. We love what we do so much, but we're looking down the road at our clients' evolving needs. We made a decision. We're not going to be all things to all people. We're going to be all things to some people. This is who we're suited for. Now, the counter component to this is the R in strategic. Right size. It is unbelievable and counterintuitive how many of our clients, meaningfully successful at the highest level, who are growing down. Respectfully, they are either allocating clients who need them to another provider, either within their ecosystem or outside, or they're disassociating because it's not a good fit. You are allowed to evolve. You're always going to take the high roads, and we're not firing clients. That's not what this is about. And you're going to explain to your clients that your goal is to land in a sweet spot around growth and scarcity. You're growing. I mean, I've said this so many times in the last 12 months. How many of our clients are telling their clients, we made the decision to grow our business from 200 clients down to 120? And I get it. I mean, if you think about AAA, AA, single A, and need, movable, middle, and deserve, I mean, some of these people have been around you forever. I get that. Just be absolutely precise and crystal clear. Family members of A clients, okay, put them into a different model. I get that. But just have a conversation and let your team explain to you, who are we suited for? Where's the hassle factor? What relationships hurt us more than they help us? Cost us more than they get us? Honor that. Okay, let's go deeper. Let's talk about the A, activities. Just in your huddle with your team, just ask us, what are we not doing that we should be doing? Even just one thing. And what can we do better? Now, part of the bundle, and some of you have already seen this, but part of the bundle is always on. A document that frames your client experience based on the 4 quadrants: on side, on board, ongoing, onwards. It's a great template to refine and optimize and to adopt where you have gaps. And this is plug and play. Just add water. But get clear. Now, I know there are some of our clients listening in, and you know this. Our goal when we work with a team out of the gate is identify 6 to 8 gaps we can address in the next 90 days. Now, of course, the paradox there is you address 6 to 8 gaps, 6 to 8 new gaps emerge. Just the way it is, but it's progress. So get clear on those activities, and we'll provide the resources for you so you're not trying to pluck things out of the air. You know, I'll give you an example there, or an analogy. You ask a client, hey, what are your goals? You put them on the spot like that and say, what are your goals? They're going to have a tough time. They'll talk in generalities and high level. But if you frame it in form and say, what are your form goals? Because money is a means to an end of family, occupation, recreation, and just start to itemize for them and classify and frame it, they'll go so much more deeper. And then now that it's more experiential, they're engaged in your process. Same thing here. Let's go to the T, technology. I have never seen the intensity, the velocity of the adoption of technology spike more than 2020. We all know Moore's law, right? Every 18 months, speed and the performance. I mean, it's actually quite fascinating. You've got some clients who need you that you could automate. And there are all kinds of solutions there to automate that on a one-to-many basis. But one-to-many, okay, so here's what I'm going to ask you. The art and science of being the elite fee-for-service professional, the art and science. The science is the technology, the way you manage money, the way you manage your business, the way you manage relationships, the way you embrace technology. Zoom has put more sand in your hourglass, right? Or WebEx or whatever technology you use. You're giving your clients the gift of time. You have the gift of time. Do you use voice technology when you meet with a client, either virtually or in person, and capture? Do talk to text and capture, and then send a summary of every conversation? Here's what we talked about, framed in form. Do you do that? Very efficient. But again, the science and the technology is not designed to replace something, it's designed to supplement something. The more you embrace high tech, it liberates you to put a bigger emphasis on high touch. If you only embrace high tech, well, now you're competing with Robo. What can Robo not provide? High touch. That's what I'm asking you to find balance on. You know, I did a podcast yesterday with Matt Halloran at Top Advisor Marketing. You might already know him. We're very active on LinkedIn together. If you want to do podcasts to activate content marketing and communication and branding with your array of clients, strategic partners, and prospective clients, outsource it, turnkey, talk to Matt. If you want to engage video for both evergreen and cascading video blogging, talk to Idea Decanter. If you're, listen, we'll act like a concierge if you want. You want to talk about CRM and best practices around CRM? Give us a call. You want to talk about video? You want to talk about podcasts and digital, engaging LinkedIn technology? Just remember, it supplements high touch. That's all I'm asking you to take away from this. And again, I'm going to show you this resource when I'm done this sort of checklist here, because this is your placeholder. Okay, now let's keep going here. The E, this is one of my favorite parts, enterprise value. If you read the E-Myth, you know every business is built to be sold. And every investment of effort you make into your enterprise drives its value. If your business is just based on AUM and revenues and things like that, well, you're on the minimum enterprise value. You start adopting intellectual property and process, your multipliers, I've seen it go from 2 or 3x to 6x with a kicker. There's an alchemy that can come from working on your business. So here's what you can write down in this section, the concept of being able. There's 3 ables. Is your business sustainable? Which means, based on the rule of 3, you have cracked the code around client retention, staff retention, fee worthiness, recurring revenues, and multiple income streams. Repeatable, which means you're consistent, especially in the client experience. And then scalable. You depersonalize your business where you can have scalable growth. And all of that gets documented into your proprietary playbook. Which leads me to the G, growth. Growing your business. Now, I don't know where you are on the spectrum between contentment and ambition. You might be content with organic growth. Okay. You've reached cruising altitude, less friction up there, autopilot, go, keep going. And make little adjustments along the way, and it's all good. Total client engagement. So as your client relationships unfold, money goes into motion, you're empowered, you've got advocacy, you only bring on new clients who've been introduced to you. You have mastered the art of organic growth. You've got strategic partners engaged in your process. But then you have to ask yourself, okay, do I want to activate some ambition, not rest on my contentment? Sure, you've got this work optional lifestyle. The business serves your life, not the other way around. But maybe you want to go higher. Maybe you want to go faster. Full throttle. That's what scalable growth is. And you can combine the two because your organic business is a proof of concept. Your ability to go out and acquire a business, either the entire thing or a part of the business. You can acquire a remnant for somebody who's trying to simplify their life. You can acquire a business and somebody wants to stick around and just be liberated. And you elevate the client experience. And by the way, this is the next frontier. And this is part of the heart and soul of our consulting interaction. This vein of gold. There's no mystery here. If you want to go to scalable growth, you talk to us. We'll convert your organic proof of concept. And then how high is high? Without disrupting your life or adding hassle factor. That's our wheelhouse. Okay, so let's go to the I in strategic, individual. Part of our biggest responsibility when we work with a team is to ensure that they're running the business isn't running them. And a massive component is just reminding them around the distinction between self-sacrifice and self-interest. I meet many fee-for-service professionals who care so much about their team, so much about their clients. They give, they give, they give. And the happiness of others comes at their own expense. I've learned self-sacrifice is very anticlimactic. It breeds contempt. Self-interest breeds respect. You cannot pour from an empty cup. The best way to take care of your clients and your team is to take impeccable care of yourself. Adopting the philosophy that I learned from Jim Rohn, who said, I'll take care of me for you. I will never strive to succeed at the expense of someone else. It's all through the service I provide to someone else. But a massive part of your strategic plan is carving out and allocating time for rejuvenation, restoration. I don't want my clients to work harder. I want the business. It's like you. You want your clients' money to work for them. I want your business to work for you. That's engineered. That's by design. That's a choice. And it needs to be executed. And then I'll round this out and then I'll get into some actionable items. The C in strategic framework is community. I've had many clients that have shared with us what they're doing to give back. Many are very quiet about it. They don't show it off. The purest form of benevolence is anonymous. And it's the form of benevolence where there's no expectation for praise or repayment. It's just good karma. And if you believe in nirvana, part of the fuel is karma. You know, I've had clients that have engaged with their local food banks on a very substantial level and partnered with their own clients to get behind it. And 1 + 1 equaled a lot. So build in how your enterprise is going to contribute to your community. You know, I've got a book over there. It's one of my favorite books, written in 1965 by Taylor Caldwell, called A Pillar of Iron, dedicated to JFK. The whole concept of asking what we can provide, not what we can be provided. I mean, in your self-interest, giving starts the receiving process. But sometimes what you receive is qualitative, not quantitative, and it all matters. Okay, so nothing earth-shattering in the framework, but I do want to talk about implementation. So first of all, have a team meeting. First of all, remember, the value of this conversation is going to begin when you hang up. That's where it begins. Be mindful of the law of diminishing intent. Don't let this go to your head to die. Don't let this have the lasting value of a Red Bull. So there's a no man's land. There's an interlude between intent and implement. And it happens the moment we're done today. So print everything out and then have a team meeting. And give them a couple of days. Give them the document, walk them through it, spend 5 or 10 minutes, set an expectation, empower them, engage them, and then schedule a meeting for when you'll come back and consolidate. You know, it's interesting. I got a question from Gurdyal. I think I'm pronouncing that correctly. He asked for tips on time management. Guard your time. You can't manage the clock. Just guard it. Unless and until you pay incredible respect to your time, nobody else will. So everything gets scheduled. Okay? You're not reactive. Tell your clients, I return phone calls between 3 and 4 p.m. every day. If your matter's urgent, talk to somebody else on my team. You respond to emails at 3 or 4 p.m. You work on your business proactively, schedule everything. Many of our clients, a best practice they have is they have a huddle with their team every morning, either on Zoom or in person, 5 to 10 minutes. That's it. And it's a high-low meeting. So what was the high point of yesterday? What was the low point? And they can both serve you well, right? It's yin yang. They're both teachers. You need the dark to appreciate the light. You need the cold to appreciate the warm. So what's the high point? What happened yesterday was a high point for us. A big win, a big breakthrough. What was a low point? Where did we drop the ball? Every morning, 5 to 10 minutes. High, low. Once a week, 30 minutes. Once a month, 1 hour. Scheduled. Every quarter, half a day. Tune out the world. On track, off track. Mid-course corrections, how are we doing? KPIs? Once a year, a 1-day offsite. Go deep. Make a statement to your team. This is important. We're planners, we plan. Okay, so at a minimum, your takeaway here, build your star 4-page plan. At a minimum. Don't wing it. Just get it out of your head. Go through W5, star, strategic analysis, targets and goals, activities and reality check. It's simple. You want to go deeper, populate your strategic framework. Make it inclusive, make it experiential for your team. The aggregate creates the accretive outcomes. And I'm telling you, you're engineering a culture of engagement and empowerment. And of course, it's a stepping stone. This could become a very good supplement to your playbook and procedures manual, or it could become it itself. Org chart, service matrix, best practices, all, and you remember with this binder, you can give it to somebody else, right? Scalable, predictable, sustainable, repeatable, scalable. I know you're going to have it all living in the cloud somewhere, but okay, let's talk about resources. That right there is the strategic framework. So you see at the top those KPIs. You can create your own KPIs, of course. Obviously, AUM and revenue this year to next year, bridge that, of course, set expectations and targets around that. But go right up to what matters most. Ideal clients introduced, clients converted, know your ratios, and then look for qualitative. Honor and reward and recognize qualitative client feedback. You talk about activities. We've got so many teams that are reframing their best long-term relationships right now. Okay, so they're going back to their existing long-term clients. Okay, so you're my client. You've been my client for 10 years. You think you know me, but I'm the tip of the iceberg. You know what you know, but there's a lot more there. So I reintroduced myself to you on Zoom or WebEx or in person. I removed the mystery. I'm no longer my own best kept secret. I've gone from being a good person to helping you understand our practice and our process. And all of this is described in our resources called the 7 Pillars, 1 Process, and the review meeting is obsolete. You can ask for those. They're pure gold. My point is this. I wish I had $1 for every time a financial professional told me, I reframed my best client 2 hours ago. This client's been with me for 12 years. And at the end of the reframe, he said to me, finally, I actually understand what you do. I mean, I've always loved you. I've always trusted you. You've always been great to our family, but now I actually get it. That's qualitative feedback. Or when a client calls you up and says, hey, you got to do me a favor, talk to my mother or talk to my brother. We had a great form conversation. They're completely disillusioned with their current advisor. I've explained your process. Would you just talk to them for me? Just do me a favor. That's qualitative feedback. Capture that. Balance, quantitative, qualitative. You can build this out. I've seen strategic framework documents consist of 50 pages, and it's fluid and dynamic. It's not like set it, forget it, done, one off, bury it. No. Every meeting you have with your team, you bring your binder. You bring it with you. Where are we? On track, off track. Next steps. Okay. So if you're not one of our clients and you want the bundle of resources, find me on LinkedIn. Just look for me, Duncan MacPherson. I should pop right up. We're very active, very busy on LinkedIn. Ask for the bundle. You'll get strategic framework, the STAR document, always on, any resources. If you want 7 pillars, if you want review meetings obsolete, if you want a sample agenda, we will bombard you. And if you want to kick our tires and just understand what it looks like to have an accountability partner beside you throughout 2021 to help you navigate through what's coming, talk to us. We're not going to try to convince you to become a client. That's not how we roll. It's got to be an alignment of interest. What you aspire to and how you see the world has to be aligned with us and our process and our philosophy. If it does, off we go. You want to go a little deeper? Just download our app. Put Pareto in your pocket. Work on your business 5-10 minutes a day. Every business day, we're populating that with an actionable, proven strategy. Again, I do not pretend that this is massive, earth-shattering information, nor do I believe that you need to make drastic wholesale changes to the way you conduct yourself. You know how it works with your clients and the importance of planning. Have a plan, engage in planning, and off you go. Make the mid-course corrections. Be mindful of external dependencies. Focus on what matters to you and what you can control, because it truly is the set of the sail. It's not the wind that blows. The wind blows the same for everybody. How we adjust is what separates the best from the rest. So I want to thank you. There's our toll-free number. You want to get to know us better? We've got such a great crew. And again, we're led by you. You want to pop the hood and understand what it would look like in 2021 to have an accountability partner, get clear in your gaps, and execute and achieve professional contrast, position yourself for growth. You talk to us, shoot us an email, give us a call, or ask us on LinkedIn. We'll send you the bundle. I'll let you know if we're going to do those monthly sort of peer share Q&A sessions. I think we should. And I'd love to hear how you position yourself to make 2021 your best year ever. Okay, so thanks again for taking this seriously. Thanks for your investment of time. I really sincerely hope we've expanded your thinking and given you a game plan for how you can round out your strategic plan. Thank you very much. Bye for now.